Chapter 1. A rooster crowed, and there was a stir in the darkness. Andrew threw the mosquito net from around him and spoke toward the other bed in the next corner. "I'll make a fire in the stove and put water on for coffee, Katie. Well, I'll get up and make biscuits. It'll soon be light," Katie said. A star was still shiny when Andrew flung open the door in the lean-to kitchen, and rippling sounds of a shallow creek could be heard. Crickets were chirping, and in the distance a whippoorwill called. The night air was cool, but the day would be bright and hot. Fine cotton-picking weather in Louisiana during the autumn days of 1935. "We got an egg yesterday," Katie said as she squeezed shortening into the flour to make her mixture for biscuits. "Well, all our hens will be laying soon," Andrew said, and sat in the open doorway watching the light come as he drank his coffee. The trees along the creek stood shaped first, and then the gray log barn beyond. Past the barn, a lighter gray where the open pastures were, and then earth rose a little knob to where Ma's house sat. A rooster crowed at Ma's place, and their old Barney rooster answered him from a fence post. By now the star was gone, and heavy dew was visible on the grass. "Big dew on, but it'll soon be dry. Good day to start picking cotton," Andrew said as he rose from the table and brushed his hands together. Katie got up and handed him his hat. "I'll be on to the field to help you when I've milked the cow and cooking something for dinner for us." A cow bawled, and Katie hurried back into the shuttered bedroom, and from a nail on the wall she took a gray homespun dress, faded almost white under the arms and across the shoulders. Andrew eyed the length of his shortening shadow, calculating the time when he saw Katie coming across the field with a water jug, a smutted pot, and a crinkled brown paper sack. "Getting mighty thirsty. Picked my sack full of cotton and emptied it twice already. Well, I decided to bring our dinner to the field, and we wouldn't have to go back to the house to eat. Got the first mess of young greens out of our fall garden and made a pone of cornbread." She handed him the jug, and he drank long and deep. "Best water in the world." "The children all right?" "Well, Nez was a little grumpy when I left them at your Ma's house." In the afternoon, when Katie returned from Ma's with fresh water and the children, Elsie ran ahead carrying an old quilt to spread under the shade tree, but Nez hung onto her mother's hand, whining. She sat on the shade of the quilt where Katie placed her, but Elsie scampered up the cotton row, picking the fluffiest bows to put into Katie's sack. Elsie dragged the water jug to Nez and tried to hold it up for her to drink, but the two of them could not manage the heavy container, and great parts of water splashed onto Nez's shoulders. "That feels good," she giggled, and then she lay down on the quilt to sleep. Now that fever had come, Inez was no longer fretful, but lay listless on a pallet on the front porch while Elsie fanned her with the cover from a Sears Roebuck catalog. "I want water," was her only request after she had been dosed with a dark, bitter quinine syrup. "Well, now, Ma says it's bad to drink water if you have a fever," Katie told her. "Well, just a spoonful," and Katie fed her 3 spoonfuls of tepid water. "Now, Elsie, you stay here by Nez while I go and pen the cows." Katie was gone scarcely 10 minutes. When she returned, both children were missing. "Elsie, Nez!" Elsie came running from behind the house, clutching an egg. "Elsie, where's Nez?" "I don't know. She was on the pallet. I just went to see if there was an egg." "But I told you to stay with her. Nez!" Katie started running toward the creek, and as she rounded the path by the beech tree, she met Inez coming back, glass in hand. "Inez, you went to the creek by yourself? If you weren't sick, I'd spank you." Inez looked up at her mother with big eyes. "I wanted water, Mama, so bad." "Oh, my baby, what if a snake had bitten you?" "Who's that coming?" Elsie called, standing on the porch where she had been sitting. A man was coming down the path on the other side, but they could not make out who it was until we had crossed the foot plank. Why, it's Papa, poor old Papa. Grandpa, Elsie shouted, and Inez sat up in her mother's lap. The men shook hands, and then the older man seated himself on the step beside Elsie. You young folks doing all right? Everybody well? Well, we've been well, except little one there has a fever this evening. We dosed her with quinine. She drank a lot of water. Hope it don't hurt her. Ma always said to starve a fever, Andrew told him. Pshaw! Never believed that. Bet that creek water will do her more good than the quinine. Never held much with this medicine, Grandpa said. Well, have you been well, Papa? Kate asked. Well, I can't complain, Kate. Been picking cotton for themselves, but a big rain came up today and we had to stop picking for a while, so I decided to visit you folks and give you a few days picking. Katie looked down at her father's rough cotton-picking hands. The thumbnails were black-edged and beginning to fester at the corners. That's good of you, Papa. How are your thumbs? Oh, not bad yet. Not at all. Now see there, Katie, Andrew exclaimed. I won't be picking there by myself tomorrow. Locusts called, the creek rippled softly, and twilight darkened into night. Elsa nestled up against Grandpa, and Katie hummed over the creak of her chair. I remember that song I was trying to sing last night, Andrew. Thought of it in the cotton patch today. Well, sing it for us, Kate, Grandpa urged. It's been a long time since I heard singing. Just a song at twilight, when the lights are low, and the flickering shadows softly come and go. Though the day be weary, sad the night and long, still to us at twilight comes love's old song. Comes love's old sweet song.